Hi, this is Mike Alexander with Agile Amped here at Agile2016. And I'm here today with Ellen Gottesdiener, and she had a topic today. She hosted the Stalwart session this afternoon. And so you're with EBG, the CEO of EBG.
EBG Consulting.
And you're a product coach.
Product coach.
Tell us a little bit about that. Fill in some blanks for us.
What we focus on at EBG is working with product and delivery team to build great products. And we do that by amplifying discovery to accelerate delivery.
Okay. So what does that mean? Tell the folks that probably aren't in that space. Amplifying discovery to accelerate delivery.
Yeah, so we found that Agile's been around for a bit of a while, and that many organizations and teams are pretty good at delivery. They're getting better and better. Yes, there's areas that they can improve on, but the one area that we're not doing as well with, that we could do better with, is discovery. So that we really make sure that we're building the right stuff that we're feeding to the delivery teams. So that's very much the space that we're looking in. We're working in with the product managers, product owners, agile product managers and product owners and teams to help them focus on value and make decisions that are smart decisions for choosing what to pull into the backlog, and to do planning that's looking at slicing the options that they may decide to deliver based on value and pulling validation, checking that we're building the right thing at the right time all the time. So one of the things that we're fairly known for is an approach, a structured approach, it's collaborative, that uses what we call a structured conversation. And that's a metaphor for this ongoing collaborative way of pulling customer, business, and technology people together in discovery workshops, facilitated sessions, where they look at possibilities or options and using value to make decisions about what to build next.
Okay.
And how to agree on the value as well. That's like a prerequisite before you do your optioning. And so this is useful at we talk about different planning horizons. The big view, way out there, could be a year, could be 5 years, where you might build a roadmap or a portfolio. That's the big view. And then the preview is typically a release, which your mileage varies there. It could be a month, 2 months. And the now view, that's your sprint or your whip if you're using Kanban. And we're using these same conversations at all planning horizons. See, because Mike, one of the things that we see happen is people are so hung up on stories. I need to, and they're missing other dimensions of the product, like data or policies, business rules, quality attributes. So we're helping people see that you may need to look at their product holistically across what really are 7 product dimensions. So this delivery approach, delivery workshop, is a structured way for them to efficiently come together and do this optioning and slicing work, looking at the product requirements holistically.
Okay, good. That was awesome. Let's talk a little bit about your session that you had here at Agile 2016, and you hosted a Stalwart session. Now, I know some folks that aren't here and haven't experienced that probably don't know what that means.
Yeah, the word itself is kind of freaky.
Tell us a little bit about the Stalwart session.
Well, a Stalwart is supposedly a thought leader. So somebody who's been around the block, so there's a little gray here, I guess. Not all the stalwarts are gray-haired people.
And not all gray-haired people are stalwarts.
That's right. Thank you for that. And the format, what they wanted to do is provide an opportunity for people that have questions around certain areas. If somebody's been around the block with Agile or certain practices that we know are important, to come in and ask questions. So it's not something we host per se. There was a facilitator. Declan Whelan was a wonderful facilitator who kicked us off and set up a fishbowl. So people came in, we always have in a fishbowl, we had 6 chairs, including mine, and an empty chair. And people came up and sat down and asked questions. So that was the format, a fishbowl format that
And
we
there can
used.
only be so many fish on the stage at a time, so it's
Yes.
one seat's always left empty.
One seat's always left empty, and people were coming and going and asking questions. One person asked a question and then left,
Okay.
but not left the room, but left to sit down to make the space. So it's a really nice format, the fishbowl format.
Okay.
Many viewers may be familiar with that already.
Okay. So tell us about your session, your fishbowl. What kind of questions were you hearing during this?
I was hearing a lot of questions about product management and product ownership and business analysis. So I think for one thing, people are very confused about what is product management versus what is product ownership. That's one area. And there's a growing, I've said this before, that I think we're moving into the age of product. And, what the value is the product, not the project.
Okay.
I think it was maybe 3 years ago I gave a talk in several places called Product, Not Project, and upset some folks in certain project management communities. But that really is where the value is. And project management is, how you get the work done. Let's focus on the product. And product management is a much broader discipline that includes everything from really looking at the care and feeding of the entire life cycle of a product, and it does sort of look like this, from inception to decline. And some people call the product manager the CEO of the product. Now, the other thing that's important to remember is a product doesn't always have to just be a software product, right? Because it could be a system that has software and hardware, like some of our clients build devices, medical devices. Products can also be services that also include software or not. So that's a product.
Okay.
And product management includes the caring for that product over its entire life cycle. That might include launching different versions of the product, checking for product market fit, doing competitive intelligence, understanding the customers. So there's a lot of strategic work and tactical work. And it's going to grow in awareness. And there's now a product management body of knowledge. There's a group in Europe that has a framework for software product management. There's a couple of conferences. And I think the Agile community, we need to wake up a little bit and understand that, we're, from an engineering point of view, there's a lot that needs to be done and practices need to be better, but we need to make sure we're building the right product and building it right. And we have to focus on the discipline around product management using Agile, because that's where the value's from.
Absolutely.
Let's not forget our mantra, right? Value, value, value.
Value, value, value. Correct, yeah.
So, and there were a lot of questions around product ownership and can a business analyst be a product owner? Is a business analyst a product owner? No.
Okay.
And the answer, I say no quickly, because it all comes down to decision making. The product owner, using Jeff and Ken's definition of a product owner in Scrum, is responsible for optimizing the backlogs, optimizing the work of the delivery team, which means that they're looking from a product management point of view of value. They have decision-making authority. If an analyst, a business analyst, is allocated decision-making authority, then they are the product owner.
Gotcha.
But many product owners are so busy. You probably have seen this. This is like a lot of delivery teams. They complain about lack of availability of the product person. But this is where people with good analysis skills, and it's not the role, it's the goal, you still have to do that work of analysis, they can be really, really helpful to a product person to prepare, to do the refinement work, to get backlog items ready. So maybe the team at a tactical basis, they can see some examples, so they can see the rules. These are the scenarios I want to cover in the next iteration or sprint with these stories. This is the data I want. That's kind of analysis work that needs to be done no matter what. You want to have it ready so that you can get done. And there's where analysis skills can be really, really helpful. So the analyst is not necessarily the product owner unless they've specifically been given that decision-making authority.
That's correct. I totally understand that. Now, it might be a good way for them to move into that role at some point in time. That might be a good career path for them. So,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
one more. Can you got one more that you could tell us a question that absolutely popped in your mind from that
Question
Stalwart
that
session?
popped in my mind. Well, there were some questions about for large, and particularly larger organizations. The point was made about the assumption that we're going to put a project person into a product role, or who do we put in what roles? And the point was made that HR, human resource, sometimes doesn't know what to do about that. That Agile's really challenging traditional human resources because they're thinking about job titles and they're not thinking about work in a more fluid way, and that different teams need different skill sets. And that was a very interesting conversation that we had
I bet it
around
was.
pushing the edges of HR, particularly in large organizations.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
that it was.
yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up here today, and I want to say that I appreciate you coming by. It's been an awesome conversation.
Thank you.
Is there somewhere that people can get a hold of you if they wanted to reach out to you?
Oh yeah, sure, Mike. So folks can go to our website, EBG Consulting, ellenboygirlconsulting.com, and also they could check out the book's website, discover2todeliver.com. There's lots of resources about the book that they can read and see and visualize and get a feel for how these discovery sessions work.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again. Want to thank everybody for hanging out with us here at the Agile Amp podcast. You can find us out on YouTube, iTunes, YouTube, and you can also find us at solutionsiq.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.